We're back. It's your movie review man. I'm Jeff Johnson.
I'm Claude Faitier.
And once again, we have our very special guest, Jeffrey Johnson II. Jeffrey's joining us for a superhero charge review of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Claude, tell us about it.
All right. Well, Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a TV show that takes place after the events of Avengers Endgame. If many of you remember, at the end of Endgame, Captain America had given his shield to Sam Wilson. A very emotional, emotional moment. And basically, it takes off, after that in terms of what Sam Wilson does with the shield, what the shield means to him. And so he begins to question, who he is in terms of the Falcon, in terms of being, a Black hero in America. And as this is happening, because this is, he's sort of in a way in a period where he's, isn't necessarily quick to use the shield. I'm sorry, I'm beginning to explain too much. Anyway, as this is happening, we have. He's still working the government as sort of like as an agent, and we've come across a group of liberators that are known as flag smashers, and we come to find out that they have superhuman strength, and that they have been given the super soldier formula or a generic version of it, and they basically want to wreak havoc, because after everyone returned from post Thanos snap, they're basically saying, why should things go back the way they were? We are all one people after we face an international threat. Why are you guys trying to reinstate the stuff that, basically, in their opinion, made the world a worse place?
Sure. So that's the setup for the first half of our two-person titled TV series. It also includes The Winter Soldier.
Yes, and the Winter Soldier is just like similar to Captain America, is dealing in the world where he doesn't necessarily feel that he fits in. However, he is also making amends, because as the Winter Soldier, he has taken a lot of people's lives. So he has to learn, Sam Wilson end up having to work with each other. And that's probably a synopsis that probably took a lot longer than it needed. So let's get started. Okay. Okay. All right. This was interesting, because immediately after watching the show, I definitely gave it sort of like 3 fists up. But as I thought about the story and just a lot of things that I found fascinating, I had to move it up to 3 fists and a half. And I think it's I really thought it was just a really interesting show, just like like WandaVision has sort of felt like an appropriate story for her, dealing with the world and having Sam Wilson do his sort of like the super spy everything. It seemed like this was appropriate, and the show answered a bunch of questions. I was wondering how he would be in terms of handling the shield. I thought the relationship between him and Bucky was a really good organic one, where both of them sort of complemented each other's strengths and weaknesses. And the world that they created, in terms, I thought it got me thinking about a lot of different things. So it was really engaging.
Okay, so 3 fists for you. That upgraded to 3.5 as you thought about it some more.
Yes.
My rating for it, I give it 3 out of 4 fists. Not a full 4 fists. One of the things maybe why it doesn't get a full 4 fists from me. 3, I think, is a very strong rating, and 3.5 is moving toward perfection. 4 is something I'm going to be singing its praises on and on. I'm not doing that for this. It's 3 solid pieces for it because it gave us good action, high production values right out the bat when it just starts. When it does give us action, it has good high production values. There's lots of introductions of good special surprise characters, which we'll unpack in our spoiler extended review after the break. So I enjoyed all that, but it didn't make it all the way to the full 4 stars for me. The fact that it converted itself into a television series, even though it's another one of these compressed, I think it's 8-episode television series, it did get kind of television-y to me. I felt like a couple of things in there, it slowed down. I told Jeffrey, I said, this is getting kind of Netflix drama right here. This is the Netflix drama portion of our programming, ladies and gentlemen. And then speeded back up, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're back. Some Marvel superhero speed. So had they gone straight Marvel superhero speed the whole way, maybe they would have gotten a higher rating for me. So I'm sticking to 3. Jeffrey, how many fist ratings do you give?
I think I'm gonna give it a 3 or a 3.5 because I really liked it, but I can't give it a 4 because I feel like the last episode they were trying too hard to tie it all together. I think it's a good episode, but they bring back stuff you haven't seen from the first 2 episodes with Winter Soldier, and it's like, okay, we haven't seen that for many episodes. Now bring it up at the end. That's kind of weird. But I do like the show, and I want to see more like it. So 3.5, I'll say.
All right, you heard it from the movie review men and our special guest Jeffrey II. 3.5 fists from Claude, 3.5 fists from Jeffrey, 3 fists from me. That's pretty solid rating. This is what we think at a high level of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We're going to take a quick break, give you a chance to like, comment, and subscribe to the movie review man. And when we come back, we're going to give the full-length review with spoilers. If you don't want to hear all those spoilers, take our rating, go see it for yourself. Come back. Share with us what you think. We'll be back right after this. We're back. We hope you liked, commented, and subscribed. Subscribe below. Because we're back to give you more on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Every time I say it, I got it right, Claude, this time, because every time I say it, I keep saying my favorite 70s film. The Falcon and the Snowman.
This is not America.
Every time I talk to Claude, so I've gotten it right each and every time.
Yeah, no, that was before your time, Jeffrey. That was before your time.
So this is the extended review. This is the part where we give you all the rants, the raves, the breakdowns, and the spoilers. So if you want to hear it all about what we think, your movie review men are here to give it to you. I'm Jeff Johnson, and this is
Claude Faitier.
And our very special guest, Jeffrey II, breaking down Marvel's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You heard our reviews. Claude and Jeffrey gave it 3.5 fists. That's high praise. I gave it 3 fists, which I think is really good praise. So I'm the odd man out. I'll go first and let you guys have the last word. Why is it just 3 stars? Yes, I coined the phrase, Claude. I said it's getting very Netflix drama-y. Even the music turned to kind of the generic, downloadable, I guess, drama sound effects. What they were fixing an engine on a boat, and I was like, really? This is a Marvel superhero show. You're fixing an engine on a boat, and then
his sister comes over and says, "You guys are just talking, shooting the breeze. Let a woman fix the engine on the boat." Yeah, okay, Netflix drama. So that's where that term came from. It slowed down a lot at some places, which knocked it down a peg. But it opened up with action, with high production value, Marvel superhero style action. I was appreciative of that. It's the second of the Marvel Studios television show, so I'm happy that this one was more traditionally like a superhero movie, kicking it off, throwing us in the heat of the action. Different from WandaVision. WandaVision decided to be trippy dippy and kind of come to us with a different approach. And see our review on WandaVision. We give a full review of WandaVision. It'll be at the end. You can click on WandaVision. I think I'll put it right up here. You can click on it. This one was straight ahead and gave a straight ahead action. It was billed as a buddy film. And for those of us with enough gray on our hair and faces, we know about the concept of salt and pepper, American salt and pepper buddy films. Does that even ring with you? Something you don't even know. They don't even know what that means. What that means, once upon a time, ladies and gentlemen, there was a time in America where to make cute, we'd put a black guy, a wisecracking black guy, or an old crusted, I'm too old for this black guy, and a wild and crazy white dude or a straight man white dude together, and they'd be cops and they'd go and solve crimes together as heroes. 48 hours. Why want to say the name?
Your favorite? Don't forget your favorite now. You know you're the biggest Lethal Weapon fan on the planet.
Lethal Weapons 1, 2. I do love Lethal Weapon. I do. Even the bad one is good. Yeah, even the bad ones are good. So what I'm trying to say is having a buddy flick is an American genre. It is. It's American genre. A salt and pepper buddy genre is American genre, and they build it like that, but it didn't do that. And I think maybe that's because it doesn't resonate with this generation. It doesn't resonate maybe as well when it's not a cop flick. And so it didn't feel like that. They tried to put in a little banter, and since we're getting critical again, why isn't it for? Anthony Mackie has been given the same banter in just about every action film on streaming service. I like Anthony Mackie, but we're all just now coming off of being trapped in the house with COVID. We've watched everything on the internet, as I've talked, we've gotten to the end of the internet. My daughter has found the edges of Netflix and she's about to fall off. She's found the very end of the last tape that they have. And so we've seen every Anthony Mackie thing, and he does the same thing. He wisecrack and annoys his partner in all of his action films the same way. He's being typecast to annoy his partner. And so all those having said, those really are mostly my negatives. To make it into a series of 8 episodes, which you also know I can't stand, Claude. 8 episodes is not a television. It's not a television season make, but that's the new 8 is the new 22, and they're 8 episodes to make it television like. It has a lot of action. It has introductions of the backs. I love the backstory of the Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier is an exciting character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they gave him even more flavor when they let him be the White Wolf, and he gets to have props and his people are the Dora Milaje, who are bad in this show. So all of these aspects. Bringing back a little bit more authentication to Zemo, giving him his Zemo mask back. All of those things add to the Marvel comic universe excitement of it and interest, and I enjoyed all those things. But the television aspects of it, actually the parts that pulled it down. when it slows down and gives us more like television drama, when they try to make all the characters complex. All the villains are so multifaceted that I don't have one real hard bad guy for them to go after and kick their butt. Everybody, one is a terrorist, but is a terrorist for a cause, but her people aren't that convinced that maybe she's being too rough, and everybody is nuanced. And it doesn't give me enough of someone just being bad and kick their butts. So those are my only takeaways from it. I consider my 3 rating a strong rating, well worth watching. Another example of Marvel So Black, and so I'm loving that. We're giving a buddy film where one of the 2 lead characters is an African American. Then in these times and days, we got to tell African American stories, and they endeavored to do that, and I thought that was pretty brave, especially in the comic book world. Where there's a lot of backlash in the comic book world against introducing people of color, perhaps sometimes replacing existing characters with either women or people of color. And here, they already did it in the movies. Captain gave his shield over to Sam Wilson at the end of Infinity War, so it's already been done. It's interesting that interesting and surprising that this series chose to make that the overarching theme of getting their audience used to the fact that, he handed him over the shield so that he could take the shield and go use it. So that's my extended review. What say you, Claude?
All right. Well, you know what? I was sort of on your camp, because again, immediately after I saw it, I said this is a really strong, 3 stars. But I think that, I think it's just, again, just thinking about certain things that it just elevated it for me. Now, the things that you sort of didn't care for, so like the banter between the 2, I actually sort of like the banter between the 2, because in terms of who Sam Wilson is and in relationship to Bucky, the fact that he's sort of annoying him, it sort of fits. I mean, they're making fun of the way that Bucky has the intense, stare. They have to basically sort of humanize this guy who was a killer, and Sam just sort of poking fun at him, and just, they're poking fun at each other's, parts of their personality. I think I actually like the banner. I didn't mind the whole fixing of the boat thing. Yeah, it may have been sort of melodramatic, but Falcon is sort of like in a different sort of league. He's in terms of grounded person who is part of the team. And unfortunately, part of the team is that they actually have real human problems. The family has financial issues. They have the shrimp boat that's breaking down. So the fact that they sort of address the fact that he has to be there for his sister and for his nephews, I was fine seeing that, because that's typically the stuff that you really will not get to see in a comic book. You may get a couple of panels. I think that just in terms of this sort of worked for me, because this sort of established the whole, again, in terms of him being, a human who's a hero. He's not really given superpowers. And all these characters, him, the second Captain America and Battlestar, basically are ordinary people who are trying to, they're human, and at the same time trying to fit the role in terms of being a superhero.
Gotcha.
I was, and I, again, going back, into it, it did answer certain questions that I had, because honestly, when Captain America gave him that shield, and part of me was like, well, Bucky could go physically toe-to-toe with Captain America, because both of them had sort of been souped up. So part of me was wondering, okay, you give a regular person a shield, really, what's going to happen if they try to use that against a superhero? And we definitely saw it.
Right.
And it wasn't like he was using
it's not going to work out as well.
Yeah.
Thanks for the shield, but how about some super serum to go along with that? And maybe a bionic arm.
I was wondering, I was like, are they going to jack him up? Because I have not read the comics, so I really did not know. I was like, wow, so he's actually going to physically, they bring in some characters who physically, for the most part, have to use their real physical strength to try to make this thing work. And It's like, and then that's an interesting tension there, because even like, Spider-Man would be able to beat the crap out of him. Even somebody who's not the most powerful, let's not even have someone like Thor coming in there, but even the ones that were like human and they sort of got enhanced a little, they're already at a disadvantage. So I thought that the show did well in terms of that. Idea of the flag smashers I thought was really interesting, because in a number of sci-fi stories, it's like, oh, if an alien race comes and invades us, then hopefully we as humans will get together and realize we're all one people against this. And it's like, no, it's like we still have the same BS in terms of who is going to be the ones that delegate the power,
the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah, the have and have-nots, the flag smashers saying, what was that, one world, one people. But you still see, people manipulating that situation, in terms of okay, the same stuff keeps coming up, even though they're fighting against it. The same, we get a very, very nasty stinger in terms of a heroic character who definitely turned black on everybody. I mean, not literally, in terms of someone who was built up as a character. Do we need to mention Agent Carter and what happened with her? I mean, it was just like, wow.
Right.
That was a nasty stinger.
And it's the first thing that addresses the post snap, right, in the Marvel universe. So Thanos snaps. For whatever reason, they chose in the Endgame storyline to do the thing that I hate most in all films. 5 years later. Oh, hey, even SpongeBob makes fun of that, right? SpongeBob always says something like 5,000 years later and draws a little crazy drawing, right? Even SpongeBob makes fun of that. Everyone hates that. So because they put this 5 years snap in, the Spider-Man Far From Home just made a joke out of it. Right? Called it a blip, and 8th graders were now seniors in high school, and they made a joke out of it and just moved on, right?
Oh God, how about the basketball game? I mean, come on, that was hilarious. People just appeared.
The marching band appears right in the middle of the basketball game. Exactly. So this is the first one trying to actually deal with, it would have significant geopolitical problems. There would be all these people who would be refugees, people just appearing and saying, hold up, wait a minute. You all moved on. You took away my job. You took away my house. There was a little of that covered in WandaVision, where they had Monica Rambeau appear in the hospital and say, hey, what happened? My mom went in for surgery. Like, oh, she got out of surgery. She did well. She lived well for 4 years, and then she died. What? That's a terrible story to tell me all at once. I went from sitting in the chair waiting for her to finish the surgery to like, oh yeah, things are fine. You weren't. Then they're not fine again. So this one kind of dealt with that from a geopolitical perspective with the flag smashers.
Yeah. And let's talk about another symbol, the symbol of the whole shield and what the shield meant. I mean, that just, they took that and went volumes with it. I mean, the whole setting up the whole story about Isaiah Bradley, which, I didn't follow the comics, so I didn't even know about that. I was definitely Wikipediaing the hell out of it to see who he was. And casting Carl Lumbly to play him, I mean, it's like he's such a good character actor that there's a sense of authenticity no matter where he is. It's like certain people you see and you sort of know, okay, the director has a good hand. They picked a good person, It was like the beginning of Creed and you saw Felicia Rashad playing Apollo's wife. You just sort of say, okay, I am rocking with this. This is. It was good. Really good.
It was good. And I think the part that I liked about it is that, yes, it's the Falcon and Winter Soldier. But really, if there's a lead, the lead is the Falcon. Anthony Mackie had, I think, the most lines. It was mostly about his story arc and his relationship to the Shield. Yeah. Okay, it just was. And then when you add more of and say that there was a super soldier before and it's experimentation against upon African American military to try to get it right, and he's one of the few that survived being tortured, and experimented on. It was interesting that they had Winter Soldier knew him too, right? So Winter Soldier's lived so long, he knew, he knew this character when he was young and being experimented on. He introduces him to Mackie.
Yeah, and in fact, apparently Isaiah Bradley broke his arm in two. So, so yeah, that Stark technology didn't stop him. All right, Jeffrey, why don't you throw in how you feel about it? And I could talk like for 7 hours, but go ahead.
Yeah, it's cool. It's all cool. Well, I really enjoy Falcon Winter Soldier. I like WandaVision, but maybe it's just the look up YouTube and watch a bunch of movie clips of fight scenes all day. No, I don't do that all day, but I really like Falcon Winter Soldier better. And I think that I actually have some favorite characters. Obviously Falcon and Bucky, or spoilers, should I say, the new Cap and Bucky, and also Isaiah Bradley. Those are my favorite characters. I think it was a good show. I like how they dealt with Falcon's story about revealing the shield. He was the best friend of him getting the shield. He was the best friend of Steve. And then he's like, wow, like, I'm just replacing them? I think there's only one person who could be Captain America. And then by the end of the show, he's like, well, Steve gave this to me, and I got to do what I can to fight for America, not other type of stuff. So he became Captain America, and it was really cool seeing him fly around, go to S.H.I.E.L.D. Like you, Claude, I didn't really. So I read comics, but I haven't read Sam Wilson's Cap story. So I have no experience with reading that. But from like some pictures or from comic covers that I've seen of him as Captain America, I looked at this, I was like, wow, this suit it looks a lot like it. And it was just a good show. It's not perfect for me because I feel like Marvel is kind of doing a weird thing about Steve is gone. And like, me and Dad both know he's not dead.
We weren't fooled in any way. In fact, we were waiting for that twist because they kept saying he's gone, but they never said he was dead. He's not here. He's gone. He's gone. Gone where? There's no funeral. You didn't say he was dead. So he's just going to poof, show up. And if he's not going to show up in the last season, I thought for sure he was going to show up in, a good old Marvel post-credit sequence. Which, by the way, for folks who haven't seen it all yet and you're listening to this review, they do the same thing as WandaVision. They give you a post-credit only one time at the 6th episode. So you have to watch the credit, or you got to fast forward through the credits and see, is this the one with the post-credit? No. Is this one? No. Is this one? Yes, roll back. They don't do it in every one, but they do it in one of them, which is a little annoying.
They should just do it at like the last episode. That would make more sense. Like
something predictable, the last one, and and I'll kick it back to you, Jeffrey, to say some more. We weren't buying that, them saying he's not here. And we thought for sure he would pop it at some point, or at least in the Easter egg. What other thoughts do you have about it?
Well, I just think, I think if Marvel is for real, like Cap is dead, and this is the way we're going to write him out story. Like, oh, Steve is gone. Isn't he on the move or something? That is a terrible way to write one of the main characters out of the story.
That's correct.
Absolutely horrible. Marvel, please don't tell me you're doing it. Please. Because if that is how that is, that's horrible. It's like Steve's dead. Literally, all Steve had to do was like, how in the first episode or second episode, Bucky was looking at the TV and he was saying John Walker on the news. He was just
right.
All they had to do is copy that scene, but put old man Steve in there, and then put that in the episode where John Walker offs somebody, and put that at like. They could have put that in the next episode. That would be weird. They could have put that in the episode, and then you see his reaction. You already see the people around him's reaction. They're like, "What is he doing?" Like, they could have had that, but I just, even with him not being the show, it's not that big a deal. But the way they write him, the way they like have Steve is gone, just trying to keep, that's a little bit weird. Yeah. But I also think that while I do like how Falcon is like shown in the show, I like Isaiah Bradley's story. I did not know who Isaiah Bradley was at all before this show. I do like that. Because I was really interested in the first 2 episodes and for the rest of the show for the most part. But I was really interested in Bucky's and Men's story. And then it was like, that was the first 2 episodes. We're going to stop talking about that until the last one. So in my opinion, I think my dad is a bit like, he's not as negative on that part as I am, but I would say that I feel like it would have been more smooth. They like put it in like the middle episodes, then you have the finale, then it concludes everything, But overall, I really like it. Want to see more of what did they say in the show? What did they call him? That kid called him like Captain Falcon.
He called him Black Falcon.
He called him Black Falcon. I want to see more of Black Cap, I guess you could say, and I want to see more of Bucky. So I just like it overall.
Yeah. So that's that's high praise across the board. You give it 3.5 fists. Clark gave it 3.5 fists. I'll say, it did the process of, it ended up being the thing of both convincing of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the audience that Sam Wilson is Captain America. I knew that they had Sam Wilson Captain America. I'd seen the comics and seen the suits, and I'm with you, Jeffrey. Seeing it live action, seeing it on Anthony Mackie wearing it, that looked good. It was a good looking suit. It was a good look.
Yeah. And it was just incredibly it was badass seeing the suit. And then, the fact that Bucky, because for some reason the Army, even though they had Stark Industries, couldn't repair those wings. You just knew that when Bucky, you knew the big setup was, the Wakandans were going to flip the suit.
Yes, they were. They were going to flip it. And it was so powerful that Bucky was like, let me pull a favor. I'm like, pull a favor? You just trying to make this as awesome as possible. That don't even make no sense. It's like, yeah, no problem. We'll just go back to Wakanda. We'll get Shuri to gin up a cap suit for you. They didn't say that's what it was going to be. They just had him show up and dramatically, and they're like, "Oh, that's what Bucky." And then it gives the full passing of the torch, right? So with Bucky's full blessings and the assistance of the superhero universe, as represented by the Dora Milaje and Wakandans, we're like, "Look, we're gonna help you go manifest your full role as Sam Wilson is Captain America." So that was nice, and it was well paid off. And it acted more like a TV series than WandaVision in the sense that it's just started laying out. I mean, WandaVision introduced a lot of characters and suggested that there shall be more. But this one really set up like we're going to have more television episodes. They gave us lots of characters. They threw in a twist to a character at the end of the season. So now you have to we have a new baddie has been introduced.
Yeah.
A new villain has been introduced. I say her name wrong every single time, but Mary Louise Dreyfus. I love her in Veep. Did I say her name right? I screw it up every time. Julia. Thank you. Julia. There's too many Dreyfuses. Mm-hmm. Julia Louise Dreyfus is great in Veep. She was completely entirely forgettable in this. I mean, she was just another character thrown in to let you know there's going to be more. We're giving you a new bad guy. We're giving you a new mysterious character. we've reframed John Walker, the agent, and I thought the reframing of John Walker, the agent, also was very television-y and not superhero showy. They sprinkled in his wife. I mean, he's just barely married. Oh, he has a wife. First, she looked like a girlfriend at the very first episode when she's introduced. Later, they say she's his wife. They just say she doesn't act like his wife. He doesn't act like he has a wife. They don't talk about married life. They just say he has a wife. And I know you're chomping the bit to say something, so I'm gonna steal your thunder.
Okay, go ahead.
They give him a wife. In my mind, they give him a black wife just so we can say this is not a race thing. We just make it clear he's a jerk. He's not a racist. Jerk, not a racist.
Yeah.
How are you gonna prove he's a jerk, not a racist? Give him a black wife. They don't do any married stuff at all. Nothing. There's
true.
no part in this movie you say he's a married man. But they're like, we got to make sure they don't think he's a racist. He's a jerk, not a racist. Jerk, not a racist. How are you going to prove it? Give him a black wife. Are they going to do any married stuff? No. No time for that. 8 episodes. Honey, come home for dinner. No married stuff. No rings.
Sorry, I gotta go kill some terrorists.
I got to go kill some terrorists. I'm going to be gone for a week. I'm about to die. I hope my wife remembers me. No. No wifey stuff. Just give them a black wife so they can say jerk, not terrorist.
All right. You know what? You almost stole my thunder, but then no. But we saw the same thing, and what's really interesting about it is that usually I would think it's sort of like a fault, because you usually have a bunch of black characters that seem to be some orbiting satellite around some white character. They don't seem to interconnect. I did not really I didn't understand that was his wife. I thought at first he was either a girlfriend or a PR person.
Sure. Or part of his team to get him motivated.
Yeah.
They introduced him by saying,
like you said, the whole "he's not a racist" thing. I just felt that throughout the entire, not just the wife. He's coming out, the band's playing. He gives a high five to the band major. Boom,
to an HBCU band drum major.
Yes, all right. And Battlestar, is okay. It's sort of his sidekick. You have a sense that he sort of cares for Battlestar, but then we don't know anything about Battlestar's family or whatever. Again, an orbit around him.
Correct.
And the thing that is, it sort of fits his character, because usually I would tear a show apart. But the thing is the fact is that his character has a generic quality about him. He's not Captain America. He doesn't completely own the suit like Captain America. He does not have Captain America's heart, and that came throughout the whole thing. He's sort of like the generic version, And
he's given a generic title.
So everything around him is sort of generic. Yeah. And in fact, of the whole disappointment when you see, you're the new Captain America, and he's coming out there, and you're wondering, why didn't like, damn, you know what, Sam, you should have had the damn shield because you were better than this dude,
Hey,
and
I like Zack.
It worked. It worked. I mean,
hey, I like some of Zack Snyder's DC movies. I like them, but this was Zack Snyder's Captain America.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Break it down. I gotta hear this.
Yeah, just because I think about it. Like, you have Batman. He just awesome people. I'm Batman. And then you have Captain America or John Walker, just off some random terrorist. Yes, a terrorist, but in the public.
He bloodies the shield.
That was, but also I want to say that episode 4, I think, is my favorite of the entire show. It is either that or 5, because episode 4, I knew John Walker was going to go crazy. To me, I knew he was going to be a villain. I knew something was going to happen, but I didn't think he was just going to off somebody the way I didn't think that was going to happen, but I saw it coming, but I didn't think, wow. And I want to say, I actually liked Battlestar. I thought he was cool because he liked John's friend, but at the same time, he's like, hey, John, maybe if there's a way we can talk this out with somebody and maybe it could work, we got to do that. Try to do the best thing we can to minimize the situation. To
yeah. So I liked Black Hawk. I wasn't a favorite character or anything like that, but I liked them. I like Dane. They just I expected it too, but I expected it. But they just offed him. John Walker was like, I knew from that point that somebody was gonna die. I knew from that point somebody was going to die. That is different from most Marvel movies.
Correct.
People don't just people die in Marvel movies. I can't.
Yeah, but your hero person just doesn't go off and bloody the shield of Captain America's shield. Pounding somebody to death.
And then he looked.
I am so glad that Jeffrey mentioned episode 4 because I remember you were basically saying that you did not like episode 4. So I was expecting episode 4 to be the stinker. You had mentioned it you had mentioned something about episode 4. You did not. You mentioned it on one of the shows. You did do that, right? I didn't. Okay.
I can't remember what part I didn't like about it, but
because I was expecting it to be the stinker, and you know what? I said the what for the very reason. I mean, me and Jerry were on the same frequency. The stuff that he liked about it was the same thing I liked about it, and I was like, okay. I was like, I have to ask. I'm so glad you brought it up, Jeffrey, because he highlighted episode 4 and basically made it seem like it was the bald-headed stepchild of all the episodes.
I'm outvoted.
I thought you were talking about.
I thought that episode was actually a very good one. For
I
the
thought
very
you were
same
talking
reason.
about like episode 3, the one where Zemo did dance. By the way, Marvel.
Yeah. Well, I'll stand by that. I'll stand by that. They had the I told you this film failed in making a salt and pepper buddy show. They implied it would be, and it was not. They implied it would be just to trick us old people, Claude, you and me, to go see it. It meant nothing to his eye.
I think it was though. I don't think it was the same type of cop and buddy show.
It was not the same type.
Each other, and going back to another point that Jeffrey. I'm sorry. Going back to another point that Jeffrey had made. I sort of like when they sort of resolved, Bucky doing the amends. Just like Jeffrey said, I think it would have been cool if they peppered it throughout the series. But
sure.
I do like the fact that because of their partnership together, that Sam basically ends up in a way telling him, you're just continuing to defend this old stuff. This is not really making amends. And just like he helped Sam out, Sam helps him out. And it's a little weak when the person has to tell you the lesson you need to learn, but sometimes that's just life. Sometimes someone who knows this stuff, just honestly, you're not going to get it in time. So let me tell you what's wrong. This is what's happening here. This is what you need to do to make amends. So I completely rock with it. I agree with what Jeffrey did, but I also thought it brought Sam's stock up that he told him.
I think you're right.
I
think you're exactly right with that. And that's what makes it different. Maybe that makes what the modern salt and pepper needs to be. Because let's be clear, I'm not praising salt and pepper films. I'm saying that's what America accepted. That's what America accepted in the absence of actually having real discussions about race, especially real discussions about race between an interracial team and partners. Instead, we won't talk about race. We'll just have these guys be such great buddies, and we, America, will go, see, can't we all get along? Look how they get along. My favorite, Running Scared. I haven't covered all my films now. Now, you covered Lethal Weapon because I like it, but Running Scared is my favorite of all time. I mean, Chicago, come on. Running Scared is the film, is the Jeff favorite of all time. But my point is, those films were all feel good. Doesn't it feel good how well these two work together? Can't we, the rest of America, white, black, and white together? Right? This film.
What about Lethal Weapon 2? What about Lethal Weapon 2? That was some politically correct cinema right there.
Yes, but again, between the two of them.
No, I know.
The two of them. Your point is well made. That sometimes your friend has to say, "Let's jump to the end." Mm-hmm. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm not gonna tell it to you the nice way. I'm gonna tell you the lesson that you need to learn is.
Yeah, let me show you the roadmap. This is what you need to do.
Yeah, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's part of its genius. The part where you guys boosted up to 3.5 stars. Maybe that's part of the genius that this is the new, better salt and pepper. And my part I'll throw in there that you know what, a little bit more pepper, please. A little more pepper, please. Thank you very much. We've had the salt and pepper. We've had the very salty salt. A little bit more pepper, please. Make it that. Let us deal with the issues that a black man has to face, even when he's given the doggone shield. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
It's not that simple. Isaiah was not wrong. Isaiah was not wrong. And for them to be able to take the full story arc and resolve nicely and let Sam Wilson, be the hero in punching and hero and stopping the bad guys and the hero and in trying to capture the nuanced bad person because someone else plot twist becomes super evil. Our Sam Wilson, Captain America, wasn't going to try to resolve it that way. Wasn't going to try to deal with the terrorist by just killing the terrorists. He wanted to solve it a better way, a Captain America way.
So I've been like a fan of Marvel for a while. I think I introduced Spider-Man. I'm gonna relate this to Falcon Winter Soldier in a second, but been a fan of Marvel, and my first superheroes introduced Spider-Man. I think Dad showed me like Superhero Squad before probably the other shows. I'm not really sure which one, but I've been a fan for Falcon for a long time, even before I knew who Winter Soldier was. And I just think that this did a great job of just showing Falcon off and finally him getting in action. When he was in when he was in the Winter Soldier, I was excited about that because I was like, hey, it's Falcon. I always liked seeing Falcon, and even though he didn't have like the cool Falcon suit that he would later get in the Avengers movies, but I like how they did Falcon a whole lot. And I feel like during the show, not even just as dialogue and things that Falcon does show that he should be the next Captain America. So like Bucky, he could be a good Captain America. He cares about the legacy. He wouldn't disrespect the mantle. He wouldn't John Walker the Captain America mantle. He wouldn't do that. But he's just not ready for that yet. He's got to get over his past demons. So Falcon is, I would say, the best choice. Before I was like, I like Falcon flying and using the shield a lot, but I feel like it would be cool to have like a dude with a robot arm with the shield, and then you knock my shield out of my hand. I still got this to block your attacks with. That would be pretty cool. But I overall I like a lot of stuff about this show, but I like how Falcon, he tries to handle stuff by going the easy way or the best way first, not the easy way, but just the right way first, then to just go in guns blazing like John Walker. So he goes in, he's like, let's talk to Carly. Let's see if we can do this the best way we can. Now, what was Carly going to just stop? Okay, I'm not a terrorist anymore. I'm done. I don't think so, but I think she might like think in her head like, maybe Falcon has a point about something. Maybe we should try like different methods, or maybe we should do something. The Falcon tried to do this in a very like I don't know, a person with the type of heart that you'd see from Captain America, or not to jump into DC here, but I already wore the Batman shirt. It's too late for that. So something you'd see from Superman. Do you think Wonder Woman will like go the peaceful option first? Or
Sure. The traditional Wonder Woman would want to try to find a peaceful solution in the path of resistance. The Zack Snyder Wonder Woman.
Well, in defending the Zack Snyder Wonder Woman, if you cut off an Amazon's head, then she had the right to take off Steppenwolf's
How much
head.
collateral damage? Just because you wanted to show your special move.
Exactly.
But yeah, he just even if maybe Falcon's like naive about it, and then Isaiah Bradley knows more about like what the government's been doing. Even if he can be naive about it, I feel Falcon always has the heart and the right mind going into things that he's trying to do. And Bucky's like, okay, I agree with that. John's like, no, we got to attack Carly now. Like, okay, calm down. We're in this to like save lives. We're not just in this to beat people up. So, and then, so I really like that about Falcon. I also like that you get more Winter Soldier action, because when me and Dad watch Winter Soldier,
that's one of, it's certainly the most action packed. That's the one that gets its gun on. Winter Soldier, American Winter Soldier is certainly one of the most action packed and one with the most gunplay. Yeah, we enjoyed that.
Yeah, I really love
that. So thanks, Jeffrey. That's you've heard from Jeffrey II dropping knowledge.
I have one last thing to say.
Let him have it.
So
Go ahead.
I think so. Right now, I am rewatching the Marvel movies to get like for nostalgia's sake, and also a lot of movies. Most people say all Marvel movies. I probably say all. Gotta see Thor: Dark World to make sure it's all or mostly all. But most people say all the Marvel movies are good. So I think like 90% are. So I've been rewatching the Marvel movies, and some I'm watching with Dad, and I'm getting closer to to Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And as far as I remember, it doesn't feel like there's really a strong villain there. I feel like Winter Soldier is all about him. He's basically a brainwashed, he's a hero that's brainwashed. So he's more of like a victim. So in Falcon Winter Soldier, John Walker, he makes me kind of irritated at times. Like, but he's not exactly a villain, but he's not as like I don't know how you could describe it, but his heart is not up there with like Cap and Falcon. Right. He's not. No.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's more of an anti-hero because, well, I think the show did good is showing that he's trying to do the best he can be. He's trying to do the best he can do. And when they're in the car, when they were in that was like a truck, or that was like something they were in. John Walker tells Falcon like, "Hey, I'm not trying to be Steve. I'm trying to be the best Captain America that I can be." But then he says, "Oh, you're whatchamacall."
He tries to call him a sidekick, and that kind of
that ruins it.
That ends the discussion.
Yeah, I think Falcon would have listened.
Falcon is interested in being his sidekick.
Out.
Bucky was done. Bucky
was definitely not trying to be his sidekick, and so and he thought their nicknames were stupid. So he's like, "Deuces, I'm out here." He said, "I already was a sidekick, and then I was a solo assassin. So thank you, no."
Also, Dad said that. I didn't even think about it this way, but Dad said that they basically did a replacement for Cap and Bucky with Battlestar. Yes, Bucky was not happy.
He was not happy about
it. It was actually funny. I see a bunch of memes on it, and I was trying hard because I watch a lot of Marvel, DC, Star Wars videos on YouTube. I can get spoilers really, really easily on YouTube. So I saw a bunch of memes talking about how Bucky was gonna fight John Walker and how much he hates him, and it was just hilarious to see all these people meme about him because he doesn't even have to say it. You just see his expressions. He's just like, and he has something to say against John. And then when you finally get episode 5, it is, which I think is like, I consider to be, I love it almost as much as episode 4, but episode 4 was just different. But episode 5, I don't know. They're both. Episode 5 just takes you on the fight, and then Bucky's like, "We're taking the shield."
That's right.
I've been waiting for this the entire show. I have a serious moment for a long time, and it was very, that was very cool. But I liked when it comes to characters. I think John Walker. I don't hate him. I don't love him. He's somewhere in the middle because he's kind of jerky, and then he's like, he tries to put it on Bucky. He's like, oh, do you want Falcon's his life to be on your hands because you didn't go in? I think you're just trying to fight.
Right. He's just trying to fight.
Right.
That's what he wants to get his fists on. And they give you little hints that she's struggling with maybe a little post-traumatic stress disorder, and then or maybe a little post super serum addiction. He keeps grabbing his head and having to decide, can I make myself do the right thing? And again, to me, that's the part about it that's turning into a TV series, right? Because they give us complex characters. They're going to keep where they're not always going to be good, or he's going to be good, but he's not good enough. And so he's not going to make the right decisions. I like how you say it, Claude. He's the generic Captain America. And they're setting him up that he's going to have a financial benefactor behind him now. He's got a special agent. An agency is going to promote him. And so he's going to probably be more trouble than he is good, right? He's going to try to solve problems, and he's going to get in over his head, or he's going to make things worse. And then our real heroes are going to have to come in and clean up his mess as he and his meddling, whoever this wannabe world game changing person is that's going to be supporting him as the agent. Well, he's generically the agent. He's not even an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. He doesn't even have agent,
Can we say something about Carly for a second? Because I think me and you definitely agree on Carly.
Sure.
Because I'm sorry, Carly is just not, and she's just not the strongest villain. Sure. And I think that's some people say that's a problem with like Marvel's movies. I would say that's some things with like Marvel and DC both. Not to, but yeah, she's not a strong villain to me. And when Falcon was in the finale talking about she's not a terrorist, you gotta stop calling her that. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Well,
she's a terrorist. She just blew up that entire building for no reason.
She did.
She was like, okay.
Yeah.
She's like,
she blew up a building.
Why do you do that?
She blew up a building with people in it for no reason. And again, I think the show tried so hard to make all the characters nuances that they fell short. They kind of failed in that way. It was not perfect. They, if they just made her just straight ahead evil, just let her do evil things because they're evil.
Right.
If you want to make up an excuse, say that the serum, the devil made me do it. The serum made me do it. I gave the serum because I was trying to do the right thing. But once you inject it in yourself, it makes you crazy and makes you do too much. That could have been the reason, And then you have a complex character, but instead they try to make everybody nuanced. I mean, again, the part that I hated, maybe I said the wrong episode. I did not like watching Zemo disco dance. That's not funny to me. I was not trying to watch that.
Hey, I heard it released the Zemo cut. If DC Marvel can do it.
Yeah, I'm not trying to have.
It like some generic Euro dance. I mean, I thought it was funny because it was so awkward,
I'm uninterested.
But going back to Carly thing, though. But going back to Carly, I see the points that you're making in terms of her being like a defined villain. I sort of saw her in a way as a child who took it upon herself to try to be this liberator. I don't think she's necessarily inherently an evil person. Similar to this guy, she just couldn't completely handle the mantle of what it is that she was trying to do.
Correct.
And she was sort of caught, just the way I sort of saw it. I mean, she was just sort of, definitely. She was a terrorist. I think it was sort of fine that she sort of had a little bit of that I'm a little girl thing, but I'm doing some evil stuff. I mean, the very moment when he's in the when Bucky goes into the truck And he's like, "Oh, are you okay?" And she just sort of had that smile that lasted a few seconds too long, and you're like, "Oh, hell no," you know. And then she takes him into the next truck. I mean, I thought that sort of, to me, that if it was one thing, that sort of, in a way, just sort of, in my opinion, fit who she was.
I feel like
it was like she grew into she sort of became this evil person, but that there was this little
Yes.
girl that
Yes,
was in
but
her.
you know,
And
again,
typical of people who are trying to be revolutionaries and stuff, a lot of them cannot handle the stuff that happens.
they can get caught up and they can get
Yeah.
into something bigger than themselves. But
Yeah.
but I'm being critical. I'm being critical of the show when I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
what
Yeah.
I'm saying is that in my point of view is that they were trying too much to try to make everybody complex because we're going to stretch them out over time in this television series and going to have a lot of time to unpack the aspects of them. But they didn't take the time. She has a mother figure who dies. No real explanation behind who that person was, who she was to her. You know, if the mother figure died and that caused her to be evil, then that would give us a stronger villain.
That's true.
But we don't know who was she to you, and was the way she died the reason why you're so ruthless? Give us that. I mean, seriously, they were just like, look, we're gonna have a season 2. I gotta create characters. We gotta turn him into the agent, but he's gotta have somebody pay for his suit. So we're gonna give a character who's sarcastic, who's a comedian. Please just let her tell jokes. I love Veep. Why couldn't she tell Veep jokes? Instead, she's like, who's this weird woman? And what is the worst thing ever? He comes out, it's like, the suit looks the same, but it's black. That's right. That's how terrible this part of the show is. That they gave you the exact same suit, but it's black. You don't have to say that out loud with your out loud voice. You keep that quiet, and we say that. You know,
it was awkward. I kind of liked it.
And then I'm back. And then he goes, I'm back. Oh my gosh, really? We already get it. You're not really worthy to be Cap. You're going to be this guy who's going to bumble through. You're going to be the bumbling. You're going to be the bumbling idiot, not the villain, but you're going to bumble through like, oh, I'm going to rush in there and try to save the day, and you're not going to do it right. And then our heroes are going to come save the day for you, but your benefactor is going to scoop and save you at the last minute. No, you can't. You can't arrest him and make him stop. I'm going to keep him being the agent, and we're going to go.
Oh, sorry. He's going to be the Capitol rioter that doesn't get arrested.
Yeah, I actually never said anything. Oh, I don't know.
You never said anything about what?
I never said anything about like Isaiah Bradley. So
all right, tell us about,
I want to say that I like that story. I didn't know him from the comics. I really, one thing, even though I think the ending of the show was kind of, we have to put everything in here. Okay, so about my feelings about the endings, I thought the ending of the show was just really good. Even though the episode was not as good as some of the other ones that I mentioned, I think it was really good. I like that Bucky, he was finally happy at the end, had his sunglasses, was partying. The kids were jumping on the metal arm. He was doing this. Falcon became Captain America in the end. Isaiah Bradley, he finally got recognized as the hero that he was, instead of getting like trashed for what he did.
And doesn't have to hide anymore.
He doesn't. Yep.
So,
and Sharon Carter became the villain. She became the villain, and who else had an ending? John Walker became Captain America, but black. Well, black. You know,
what do they call him? They call him
the agent.
Yes, the U.S. agent.
He becomes the U.S. agent. Yeah. And he's being supported by some mysterious organization that shall move him forward. Yeah. So, you know, we have all our setups for.
And I'd honestly say there's one last thing about the John Walker. I mean, I was definitely, again, the whole, him being, generic, but I think he was definitely very important for the show because he was a foil in terms of what happened when someone isn't worthy gets the shield.
Right.
How you know, a whole bunch of, you know, just a whole bunch of things. And again, a great foil in terms of Sam feeling that he didn't deserve, you know, that he wasn't up to the challenge, but showed what it took to go be up to the challenge in terms of earning that. So, and yeah.
So that's it. You've heard it from us, the movie review men, and our special guest, Jeffrey II.
All right.
Thanks for being on the show and breaking it down for us. So you've heard what we had to say. Let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we'll be back to give you another review. I'm Jeff Johnson.
I'm Claude Faitier.
We're your movie review men. We'll see you next time.